Here are all the story times of weird lies that I have told men. This is like the most embarrassing thing ever, and I really don't want to admit this one. So for some reason, I thought it was a great idea to show my situationship my DMs. And I thought nothing of this because we were just like talking about my DMs and like the type of men that like DM me, I guess. So as we're scrolling through my DMs, he's like, wait, oh my God, Drake and Tory Lanez have DM'd you? And I'm like, oh my fucking God. So I panic when my situationship says this because what he didn't know was that like a week earlier I saw a TikTok where it was like ghost tag your favorite rappers. Side note, Tory Lanez is not a favorite rapper. I don't know why I did it to him. I'm team Meg all the way. But whatever, it's like ghost tag them in your stories. Like just, they'll respond or whatever, right? So I saw this TikTok weeks ago. I'm like, fuck it, like I'll do it. Who cares? Like no one's gonna look at my DMs like but me and my friends. But here my situationship is scrolling through my DMs and it's like, oh my God, Drake and Tory Lanez are DMing you? So I panic and I'm not gonna explain to my situationship that I was ghost tagging them. No, I go, yeah, they love my content on TikTok. I fully like, why did I say that? That's so embarrassing. He's like, oh my God, respect, that's so amazing. I'm like, it's really not that big of a deal. Let's just like, give me my phone, okay? The fact that I said Drake and Tory Lanez love my content on TikTok and he believed me, I don't know who's dumber, me or him. First of all, if Drake did DM me about my content, it was like, oh my God, it was so funny how your ex cheated on you. I'd be like, wait, what the fuck is up with, like, what is wrong with you, Drake? Why would you fucking say that to me? But the fact that my situationship just believes that, this next story is just really funny to me. And like, I don't have any reason as to why I did this. I just really wanted to fuck with this man's head. So when I lived in Chicago, I was serving and I would serve Thursday through Saturday. So that means I wasn't on my phone from like 6 p.m. till midnight, which like those are prime slut hours. And like I knew what I was doing when I was doing this. So the guy I was talking to did not know I was a server, had no idea, right? So every Thursday through Saturday from like 6 p.m. to 12 a.m., I would just really not answer him at all. But then like midnight would roll around and he would be like, hey, like what were you up to tonight? What'd you do? And I'd be like, I was just hanging out with friends. Because I was, like, all my best friends and I were servers together, so, like, I wasn't lying. Just a little bit of an exaggeration. Just a little bit. There was no good reason for me to do that to this man. I just wanted to be toxic and, like, not respond to him during prime slut hours just to confuse the fuck out of him. And it worked. Like, it did drive him crazy. And I was like, jackpot. Go to part 2. You guys already know I like to make it seem like I'm on a date night on my Instagram stories. I also love to make it seem like random men have bought me roses. I have fully went out of my way to like have my friend send me a note on a rose or like just something that makes it look like I got flowers. This works every single fucking time. Is it a lie? Yeah, because one time my ex-boyfriend was like, who got you those flowers? And I was like, don't worry about it. And he was like, obviously I'm gonna fucking worry about it, Livy. It's just like a weird little lie I love to tell. So before I moved to New York, my location was for Hinge was on New York. And I was basically telling all the men that I matched with in New York that like I was bi-coastal from Chicago to New York. I was like, I did visit New York a lot before I moved. Bi-coastal is a stretch, okay? Like I wasn't living in New York at the time. I was just like, I'm bi-coastal. So I saw nothing wrong with this until I was telling my roommate, like when I first met her after I moved in, I was like, yeah, I've just been telling all these Hinge boys that I'm bi-coastal. And she's like, wait, why would you say bi-coastal? I'm like, well, you know, like when you live in 2 states at once, you're like kind of bi-coastal. And she's like, no, the fuck, you're not. She's like, that's only California and New York because they're both coasts. I was like, oh my God, I've told like 35 men that I'm bi-coastal. I look like a fucking idiot just saying I'm bi-coastal when Chicago has no coast. I mean, none of these men fucking question me whatsoever. This next one, my best friend and I thought this was the funniest thing in the entire world. So my best friend got a text from our manager when she was working that was like, did anyone say you could leave? And for some reason, we thought this was like the funniest text message. For some reason, I was like, wait, I'm gonna send this to every hoe I've ever had in my entire life to throw them off completely in their current moment of wherever they are. I sent this text message to men I hadn't talked to in like 8 months. So immediately these men start responding to me because they think I'm at the same place as them because I'm like, did anybody tell you you could leave? We also did this on 4th of July, so they were like, wait, what the like I definitely should have been out. They're all like, wait, what the fuck? And I just keep repeating, I'm like, did anybody tell you you could leave? For some reason they were like all freaking out and they were like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, where are you? Just left them all on red, no explanation. When I was 19, I broke up with my boyfriend and I thought it would be like a great idea to like make him jealous. So I texted him and I'm like, hey, just so you know, like I'm seeing someone new, like I wanted you to hear it from me and you didn't hear it from anyone else. I'm expecting this man to be heartbroken and be like, oh my God, no, take me back. When I tell you my ex did not give a fuck in this moment, he was like so happy for you, like live your best life. Not the reaction I thought I'd be getting. I think I responded with like, let's get lunch to talk it over, and he was like, absolutely not.
My husband admitted that I'm ugly. I'm an unattractive woman, objectively. I've always been this way, and while I have accustomed myself to it, it nonetheless remains a daily fact that being an ugly woman sucks. I met my husband 4 years ago, and he is the greatest thing that has ever happened to me. He has always and frequently told me that I'm beautiful and somehow sounded honest without sounding like my mother, like someone without another option to answer. Last night, Saturday, he had a group of friends over to our home. They meet several times a month to hang out, catch up, and play games. He has known most of these guys since high school. I was upstairs in the kitchen preparing drinks and snacks and was able to hear them in the basement and began to eavesdrop, which I know was rude, but it wasn't really intentional. I realized they were talking about me. A couple of guys were teasing my husband about me, specifically about my looks. I could tell it was supposed to be funny. It was not. There was a point when one of them referred to me as a troll, and my husband blew up, started shouting, "Listen, shut the fuck up. I know that my name is ugly, but shut up." She makes me happy. Does your bimbo of the week do that, Jim? Dave, how long has it been since we've hung out and you haven't bitched about your wife? Not real names. He went on for a while defending me, but all I could hear was, "I know she's ugly, I know she's ugly, I know she's ugly," again and again in my head. Just broke me, and I don't know why. I've always known I'm unattractive, but he isn't supposed to. He tells me I'm beautiful so sincerely and consistently, I started to actually believe he thought that. I started to cry and ran into a shower so no one could hear me. When I came out an hour later, everyone had gone home far earlier than normal. I went to bed and then haven't spoken to him all day today. But I think I've been able to avoid letting him know that I'm upset or avoiding him. I know rationally that what he said was true and sweet and that I should be happy he loves me and not my body, but it doesn't seem to matter. I just want to be pretty. God, I feel so shallow. I've been crying all day. What do I say to him? Part of me wants to call him a liar and scream and yell and cry, while the other part just wants to run away and never have to talk to him again and acknowledge that even the greatest man I will ever meet can't find me attractive.
According to my husband, I'm very sweet and innocent. I really don't know why he thinks that way about me. But I guess it's because I hardly argue with him. I'm loyal and I do everything in my power to make him happy. Now, a little background story. Before we got married, we dated for 4 years. His dad died during the 3rd year of our relationship and left everything to him because he was an only child. My man is the best, but he just can't help himself when it comes to cheating. He has cheated on me numerous times with different women. I always forgive him. And even though he will promise never to do it again, he always does it again. His cheating almost cost me my life after his father died. 5 months after he buried his dad, I realized I was pregnant. We were both happy about it because we knew we wanted to spend the rest of our lives together. I didn't know, but at that time, he was cheating on me with a woman called Bernice. After I told him the good news, he tried to break things off with her, but she didn't want to leave him. She was in love with him and wanted him all to herself. She saw me as an obstacle. She tried to hit me with a car one day. Someone pushed me out of the way, but I lost the baby because I fell on my stomach when I fell down. I didn't even know about her till she was arrested. That was when I knew my husband was cheating with her on me. I wanted to end the relationship immediately because enough was enough. But he begged and promised to change. He proposed marriage and I accepted it because I still loved him. But before we got married, he wanted me to sign a prenup. I was shocked he would even ask me to sign a contract. But he told me it was his father's wish. He said his father didn't want any woman to take advantage of him. He said it was a way of making sure his finances were secured in the future. I really loved him and I was never interested in his money. And to prove I loved him and not his money, I agreed. I only had one condition. 80% of all his property will come to me if he ever cheats on me. He agreed, laughed at me and called me cute. He promised never to cheat on me again. But I guess that was never his intention because he thinks he's smarter than me. And I'm just innocent and sweet. So he could cheat on me in secret without me ever finding out. And I think for years after we got married, I actually believed he had stopped cheating on me. Everything was perfect. I stopped going through his phone and his laptop and stopped listening in on his private conversations. All I've ever wanted was for him to be faithful to me. So I was very happy. I guess I would have always been in the dark if it were not to be for the strand of blonde hair I found on our bed. My hair was dark and all my wigs were dark. The only explanation was that the strand of hair belonged to another woman. So it was still cheating on me. And as if that was not enough, he was doing it in our bed. I got angry immediately, took my phone. I was about to call him and tell him I knew about his affair when I realized I had no strong evidence and he would instantly deny it. I needed more evidence and I decided there and then that I wanted nothing to do with him ever again. After losing my child, I've been unable to give birth. We've been trying different treatments and nothing seemed to be working. This was all his fault and he still had the audacity to cheat on me in my own home. When he came home later that evening, I pretended as if everything was okay. I started following him whenever he left the house. I put a camera in our bedroom and oh my god, the things I found out shocked me. He was bringing in different women to the house whenever I left for work. He also met some of them at different hotels. How could I have been blind to all this? After I had accumulated enough evidence, I packed my things and left the house. I spoke to my lawyer and we served him with divorce papers. Then we asked for 80% of his property. At first he thought I didn't have any evidence, so he denied the affairs. When I provided proof and he realized he was going to lose everything, he got on his knees and begged me. He told me a lot of sweet things that would have worked in the past, but I had had enough and nothing he said worked. He went crazy and started shouting and knocking down chairs. Then he started crying, but I didn't give a damn. A contract was a contract, so I got my 80% from him. I don't think I'm ever getting married again because I will never ever trust anyone ever again. Up until now, my ex-husband always calls me a gold digger. He said I married him because of his money. At this point, I don't really care. Maybe I was praying for him to cheat on me so that I could take all his money. But did I force him to cheat? I deserve it after everything he put me through. So I don't give a damn about what he thinks.